Thank you, Nathan, for joining us today here on the Colorado Food Magazine. We're very excited today to talk to you. This is kind of a unique product. When you called me a couple weeks ago or last week, the days all run together for me anymore. But I'm very excited when you talked about your olive oil, your story, how you came up with it, the history behind it. I was like, wow, I got to get this guy on the podcast. And today, just for everybody listening, we're both going to have it on YouTube as well as just Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, obviously, the name of your company is
Look Out, Here I Come.
Look Out, Here I Come. And that's the excitement I can hear in your voice when you called me, when we first engaged. Look Out, Here I Come. So, I always like to hear about the story behind the product. And it sounds like you have a long story, not a long story, but a great story would be more correct. So, tell me about how you, tell me first, before we get that, let's talk about the product.
Okay.
Then talk about some of the names and some of the stories and your vision behind the company and where you want to go. Those are the things I want to cover.
All right. Well, the product is a unique olive oil in that it is garlic infused, but it contains peppers, jalapeno and habanero peppers. And that makes it really unique. Unlike anything that I've seen on the market. I haven't gotten into any store and seen any sort of flavored olive oil that includes garlic and something. It's either garlic or it's avocado or something like that. The additional difference is that it's not a hot sauce. It's not a hot sauce. And that a lot of people look at habanero and jalapeno and they think hot sauce. Well, what I've done is I've created a product that created a process that burns the heat off of the oil, of the peppers, so that you get all the flavor of jalapenos and habaneros. And a lot of people are afraid to cook with jalapenos and habaneros because they don't know how to remove the heat. What I've done is I've created a product that removes the heat, has all the flavor, and includes garlic.
So you created a very flavorful product for even wusses like me.
Exactly.
Even though I'm a Hispanic guy, and the spices kind of kick my butt at times. I eat them, but everybody watches and laughs at me.
And what I tell people when I say remove the heat, this stuff, you could put this on broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, all sorts of veggies. I use it on fish. I use it on sandwiches. I even put it on hot dogs. I mean, it is so universal, and it's extra virgin olive oil, which is the good fat. So you're not lathering your food with a bunch of butter and sour cream and things like that. In addition, because the olfactory senses kick in, because your nose is involved in the taste sensation, you actually get more satiation. You're more satiated. So you start to eat less because you don't just feel the need to keep eating even though you're truly full.
I know when I was trying this, I just loved. You're like, okay, give it a second, and then about 5-10 seconds in, you're like, oh, that is a great flavor profile. I mean, so I commend you on that.
Thank you.
It really, really is a good product. So you came up with this idea. Obviously, it started the genesis, and the idea came from somewhere. Where did it come from?
So in my kitchen, maybe 10 years ago, I was just playing, grabbing different ingredients. And what I did is I put jalapeno, habanero, garlic into a little ceramic dish and covered it in olive oil. And then I baked it. I put it in a little toaster oven for about 5 hours and pulled it out. And I was actually wanting to create roasted garlic infused with jalapeno and habanero. So I wanted to roast the garlic like you go to restaurants and you get roasted garlic and you pick it out. And I was serving it for a friend of mine. And what I noticed was that the olive oil actually attracted the flavors of everything. So then I started using the olive oil in salad dressing. And so I kept playing with this. And then 4.5 years ago, I volunteer for an organization called Realities for Children. And this organization assists kids in the foster care system that are aging out of the foster care system. Because basically at 18, you get booted out. And these are youth who they don't have a lot of experience. They don't have a lot of job knowledge. They could be in the middle of their senior year. And so Realities for Children assists them in the transition. So we do transitional housing. We do college tuition and things like that. So the director of this organization comes to me and he says, hey, we're going to have a booth at the Taste of Louisville, which is a farmer's market out in Louisville, Colorado. And he asked me if I wanted to attend. And I kind of cocked my head and looked at him and said, you're going to have a booth to talk about foster care kids at a food event. what's the hook? How are you going to get people attracted? Like, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we have cornhole. We could tell them how good an organization. And I said, no. So I brainstormed and I came to him and I said, listen, what I'll do is I'll create a food product. I'll get a bunch of bread. And at the time, bread was my staple for sampling. I said, I'll get some bread and I'll create this olive oil. I'll stick it in some little glass dishes and we'll sell it. So at least we'll begin the conversation and then we'll say why we're really there. So imagine a 4-ounce mason jar with a bubble jet, inkjet printer label, completely out of my kitchen, completely out of my office. It just looked, it was totally Yankee. It was crazy. We sold out. We sold out in 4 hours, 96 bottles. It was
Really?
a total hit from day one. Fast forward a couple weeks, we get into a local store in Boulder. Fast forward another couple months, I'm at an event where the buyers for Safeway, the buyers for Whole Foods, the buyers for King Soopers, they're all walking around trying product. So I had my product, and by that time I had matured it into a better looking bottle, a little better looking label. So this buyer from Safeway comes up to me and she says, love your product, hate your label. And I said, how high would you like me to jump? Just tell me what you need me to do. So I call my graphic designer. She calls Safeway. They have a conversation. 2 days later, I get this label. I send it to Safeway. They say, we love it. We're going to put it in one store. We get it into one store. Fast forward about 6 months, we get it into 57 Safeways. Just
Nice.
blows it out. Now, everybody here walks around supermarkets, and there's 30,000 products on the shelves. They walk past 29,997 of them because they're looking for the 3 that they want, right?
Right.
So for me, to get my product out there, to get knowledge, I go and do demos. In 3 hours, I will routinely sell 48 bottles. I'll sell 4 cases of product. I went to Cherry Creek. We recently also got into Whole Foods. I went to the Cherry Creek Whole Foods. Now I'm selling a premium product that nobody in Cherry Creek has ever heard of. And I sold 42 bottles in 3 hours.
Wow.
Completely sold out.
And
of
this
their
is with
entire,
Whole Foods?
This is 4 weeks ago, I sold 42 bottles. 2 weeks ago, I sold 38 bottles.
Wow. So when people taste it, they're like, oh,
They're
want
done.
that.
Yeah. And the great thing is, like I said before, it's the good fats. It's extra virgin olive oil. This is the premium stuff. And I tell people, on a 6-ounce fillet of salmon, you need 10 drops to make the flavor profile completely unique. And kids on vegetables, kids love this stuff. I get moms all the time, and they're like, oh, yep, my kid, they never eat vegetables. They never eat, and they taste it, and the kids just sit there eating.
They eat the vegetable to
Totally.
get to the flavor profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even as a kid,
Yep.
I always thought broccoli and vegetables like
Broccoli is
eating
bland.
you
you throw
cardboard.
a bunch of butter on broccoli, and you can kind of make it taste okay. But a couple drops of this stuff, kids eat it up.
You're speaking to the hearts of every kid in America,
Right?
that is true.
Or ranch. Kids and ranch. That's the other go-to.
That is true. So you this is amazing product. I do agree with you. The flavor profile is pretty unique. I commend you on that. I commend you on finding us. I'm very happy with that since we're a young organization. Really going after it. So talk about your culinary background. How did you discover? But you talked about technique. You talked about flavor profile. You talked about all these things. Are you a chef?
Not formally. I grew up in a French restaurant. My mother and her husband at the time owned a French restaurant out in Lagunitas, California, which is about 20 miles north of San Francisco. And
Well, that's a culinary mecca.
At 5 years old, I was bussing tables. At 7 years old, I was waiting tables. I was jack of all trades in the kitchen, prep, everything. And I picked up on stuff. People, when someone goes into a kitchen and they play, they create. When people go into a kitchen with a recipe, they get what the recipe gives them. I love to play. I love to go into the kitchen, grab a couple things, and see what I can make. And I like to change the flavor of things. I can make different sauces taste different based on how you mix it. For example, when making a French vinaigrette, if you add oil, vinegar, thyme, basil, and a little bit of Grey Poupon Dijon mustard, and then you whisk it, you get one result. If you add vinegar and all of the add-ons, Dijon mustard and the basil and the thyme and stuff, and then you slowly pour the olive oil in while you whisk, you get a different flavor profile. And this is known. Chefs know this because you infuse the flavors into the oil and you mix it while you whisk, as opposed to just adding it and then whipping it. And if you do that, the whisk while you pour the olive oil in, it infuses together. And if you don't, the second that you stop mixing, the oil and vinegar separate. And so you get an oily bite on your salad, and then you get a vinegary bite, as opposed to a Dijon.
A fusion.
An infusion.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And how did you, I mean, what inspired you to, I mean, you just have a unique mind here, which obviously, we talked offline prior to this. You're a pure entrepreneur, so you're very creative. You're very passionate about what you do. I always find entrepreneurs, they just have this eternal optimism.
Definitely.
The world is half, the glass is half full. The world is bright. Even in down moments, you're like, oh well, I'll figure it out. I always do.
Yeah.
And this is an amazing product. I give you credit there. So, you're working at a restaurant in what's the town again?
Lagunitas.
And what made your mom or your dad do to infuse this idea, or is it just you? Is it in your DNA?
I truly think that it's me. I'm a creator. Ever since I was young, my mom thought that I was going to be an engineer. I was always building dams in our little creek that by the house, and she thought that I was going to be either a mechanical or an electrical engineer because I was always tinkering. We'd go to Goodwill, and she'd say, "You got $5, go get something." And I'd get an FM radio, take it home, take it apart, figure out how to put it together with a couple less parts than it came with. But I was
like
always
the mechanic.
Exactly. I was always inventing. I am an inventor. I've got 2 patents. I've got a couple of patents pending. But I'm always creating. I'm always learning, innovating, looking at something, saying, how can I make this better, faster, more efficient, or cheaper? And one of my dreams would be to get into a room with really smart people and be able to express my ideas and have them act on those ideas. Have a team of people. But in terms of food, it's just there's so much out there. There's so much out there that is available and can be done that I feel isn't being done. I want to innovate in terms of growing food. I want to innovate in terms of using less water to create food and feeding people more healthily and giving people more opportunity. Whole Foods is a fantastic organization. They've got fantastic food. Unfortunately, they price many people out of their product. Simply because of price. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we could have Whole Foods more available, or that quality of food, or give a homeowner with even 1,000 square foot home the ability to create their own food out of like a 5x5 side thing, a little 5x5 garden that's 3 tiers tall and grows vegetables year round. That's the kind of thing that I want to invent. That's the kind of thing that I want to do.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. You obviously want to solve problems. You talked about the charity earlier. You helped. Your servant leadership is what I call it. You're not making yourself a servant, but you're serving others. So, what are your next steps on this? What do you want to do long term with this product?
So, Look Out, Here I Come is a fantastic product. It's got a 2-year shelf life, which makes it able to be mass distributed, sold. It's not going to spoil really quick, and it's a great product. Most people, they use it up within a couple of weeks after they get the bottle. Long term, my next goal is to go Safeway West Coast, to go into every single Safeway on the West Coast, and to expand my Whole Foods visibility. I went to the Safeway in Steamboat Springs just the other day, went to the olive oil aisle, went down the aisle, and the place where my oil was supposed to be was completely sold out. Now, that's a good problem, but unfortunately that means that anybody that goes there now doesn't have product. So I want to figure out logistics. I want to figure out number one, how the heck did Steamboat Springs hear about it? Because I'd never done a demo out there, and figure out who's buying this product, and then figure out why it's not being stocked. Where's the bottleneck on that one? But if I can get into 500 stores total, that would be a game changer, and that would allow me to start to market and start to use social media, use magazine ads to get into more homes. My goal is that when somebody opens the cabinet, somebody opens a cupboard, and they see that they've got 1 ounce left out of this 5-ounce bottle, they put it on their shopping list. When I get buyers to start putting this on their shopping list, that's when the game changes. When I can get 1,000 homes putting it on their shopping list to buy it every single 2 weeks, that's when the game changes.
Oh, nice. So you have a good plan. It is a cool product. It's very innovative. It's new. I'm looking forward to telling the world about it. I mean, we're gonna, like I said, we're filming this for YouTube,
Yep.
and we love that part. So we've talked about the creativity of it. Obviously, you have the mind of a chef, and an entrepreneur, and high energy, great story. How'd you come up with the name?
So when I was a kid and I would jump into a swimming pool, I would say, "Look out, here I come," and do a cannonball and splash all the kids around. And what I consider this product to be is a game changer in the kitchen, because you take asparagus, you take a bite, you put this on the next bite, and you're like, wow, that is amazing. So I consider when you tip the bottle and you start pouring it, look out, here I come. It just makes food that much better.
Yeah, it makes people want to oh, yeah,
Exactly.
Here it is. That's
Perks 'em
great.
up.
So that's great news, or great thought name there. So obviously you're inspired by the chef. All these things happen in your life. You're very high energy. What inspires you? What drives you every day?
Better, faster, cheaper, more efficient. I think I do a lot of workplace analysis. My real job is technical. I do computer stuff, and I watch people do what they do. I've got a phrase called 10-5-40. If I can save you 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, if you do the math, that's about 40 hours a year. If you do the math on that, that's 2% of your salary. That's 2% of your year, right? You got 50 weeks of working and 2 weeks vacation. So 10-5-40. If you think about this, 10-5-40. Think about all the things you do on a computer. Think about when you print something and you get up and you have to walk 50 feet away to go to your printer and then come back, and you do that 10 times a day. Well, if we move the printer next to you, all of a sudden we save 10 seconds 10 times a day. All right? That's a minute and a half, a little over a minute and a half. I can do that all day long, and I'll find you 10 minutes. 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week is 40 hours a year. So I lead classes where I'll go to an employer with 10 employees, and I'll say, listen, you let me lead a 1-hour class. I'll teach people shortcut keys, Control X, Control C, Control P, Control D, all those, control keys and stuff. And I'll save you 400 hours from those 10 employees. What drives me is better. I look at people, I look at the amount of food that we throw away, I look at the amount of food that is just not beneficial for the human body to consume. I want to teach people how to be better, faster, more efficient. And I believe that it does start with our youth, and that's part of the reason why I'm involved with the organization, because I think that there are lessons that haven't been passed down that people learn way too late in life. If somebody can learn something at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and pass it on throughout their lives, use it throughout their lives, they'll just be more efficient and more beneficial, and the world will be a better place.
Right. Okay. What is there a book you read, or is there somebody that inspired you? Because that's a great mindset. I mean, I love it. What caused that outlook?
So I'd say it's an internal burning forward momentum desire. I definitely have that. I've had it all my life. I kind of wake up, and you said it earlier, glasses half full. I've read many books. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He's the grandfather of it all. Every Anthony Robbins book that he's ever written, I've read. Everything, Dyer, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I got a laundry list of books. I just finished Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy survived the Holocaust and had a good outlook on life. So I think that, in my opinion, the educational system could be modified a little bit, and a little bit more emphasis could be portrayed to youth to talk about specialized knowledge rather than general knowledge. It's one thing to know about Beowulf and Shakespeare, which is general knowledge. It's another thing to have a mind where you can close your eyes and envision something. And so I've read a lot. I love learning.
So you're a lifelong learner.
I hope to be, yes.
Yeah. I love that. I have this reading list that's probably 60, 70 books. As far as a lot of it's on Audible. I have a tremendous amount of also at home, just where I read. My son, I tell everybody to do that. It's what you put in your mind.
Yeah.
That fits perfectly because it's either going to be poison,
Yeah.
or it's going to be fertilizer.
Well, Zig Ziglar is one of my favorites. He's in the 80s. He was one of the motivational speakers of the 80s. And he's got a phrase called Automobile University. There's no reason to listen to FM radio, XM radio, or a CD in the car. Just don't do it. You get in your car, you turn on an audiobook. You get in your car, you listen to a podcast. You feed your mind so that when you get to your destination, you're a little bit better than you were when you got in the car.
Oh, I love that. That epitomizes what we're trying to do with the Colorado Food Magazine, why we have people like you on the podcast, why we have the Hispanic Top Chef, why we have the Latin Supper Club, why we're partnering with the Community College of Denver and the ESL program and Metropolitan State. It's these paths to improve people, to make them better. I mean, I absolutely love that mindset because it's we all are dealt at times a shit sandwich.
Yes.
It's just how are we going to digest that? What are we going to do? How are we going to come out of that? And I absolutely love that. I mean, I don't care who you are in life. It's just how you perceive that, how you overcome it, and how you adapt to it, and how you figure it out.
There's a phrase that I learned very young. I want to say I was 14 or 15, and it's can I, C-A-N-I, can I, constant and never-ending improvement. Can I? And
I've never heard that. That's great.
Just wake up and say, can I, constant and never-ending improvement. And, when you're walking, stand up a little bit straighter, walk a little bit faster, get your heart rate moving just a little bit faster. Can I? That's it. And that's kind of how I live my life. I've been dealt some blows. I've been dealt some, negative things in my life. And I look around and say, can I? Get moving. Let's go.
Right, exactly. No, I really love that. I certainly understand that. I spent that's one of the real life lessons I got in my life is adapt, improvise, and overcome. It was from I had some great leaders in the military, and they just they always told me what you put in your mind.
Yeah,
and that's going to be because everybody's going to be dealt that shit sandwich.
Yeah,
it's how you deal with it, what you're going to figure out to do, and how you're going to help the person next to you, to the right and to the left.
Yeah,
I mean that's perfect. So wow.
And with the oil, I go to farmers markets and I do demos and I talk to a lot of people that have their own small businesses. Owning a small business and being distributed by the company as our distributor is Loco Foods. They're based up in Frederick, and there's a lot of people that they have their little business and they have their product, whatever, and then you ask them, what's your business plan? What's your 2-page strategic plan? What's your are your QuickBooks up to date? And they don't have any of that business stuff. They got a great product, but they don't have any of that business stuff. And what I've done is I've created a product. I've got a solid back business, and I'm ready for Shark Tank. I mean, bring it on.
Well, I don't have those connections, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
That's fantastic. So I just love your mindset. I love the high energy. I love when you're trying to help others while at the same time help yourself.
Yeah.
What do you consider a good leader?
Good leader. So the difference between a manager and a leader. Learned this one when I was about 20. A manager tells you what to do. A leader inspires you to do what's right.
Oh, excellent. I like that. You have read a lot of those books and learned it. And it's called life. I mean, it really is. I mean, I love what you're trying to do here. And we'll do what we can to tell the world. I mean, we're going to have our organic chili show, green chili show, February 7th at Origin Hotel. I mean, obviously, I want you there. Because this is a unique, new, and innovative product. Love the mindset. Fits perfectly with what we're trying to do, educate and elevate the world about the Hispanic community as well as anybody. I mean, we'll help anybody that comes to our doors.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the cool thing about this product is it doesn't require you to be a chef to use it. You literally plate your food. You cook all your food. Use your canola oil. Use your sunflower oil. Use your olive oil. Whatever you want to do. Plate your food. Then put this on it.
Does it require a lot of drops, or do you have to drown it? Do you just dabble it? What do you do?
6-ounce fillet of salmon, 10 drops.
Oh, really?
Handful of broccoli, 6 drops, and it'll completely change the flavor of your product of the meal.
Tell me about these kids you talked about.
Oh, yeah. So I do this thing where I do demos, and I've got a little griddle. It's like a pancake griddle, and I've got 2 piles of potatoes. The first pile in the front is a boiled potato, boiled little bites with a little bit of salt and pepper. And the back pile is a boiled potato with salt, pepper, and my oil. And what I'll do is I'll have people come up, and kids love this trick, And I say, okay, take a potato from the front, and they take a potato from the front. And I say, I'm going to read your mind now. Take a potato from the back, and in about 5 seconds, you're going to look at me and say, wow, that's really good. And no joke, they do it. They take a potato from the back, they start chewing it, and they look up at me. They look me dead in the eye, and they say, wow, that's really good. And moms are like totally blown away because they say, oh, my kid doesn't like potatoes. My kid doesn't like broccoli. I said, put this on. Your kid will like broccoli. Your kid will like potatoes.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, moms and dads across America.
Yeah.
You found it
Yep.
right here. That's fantastic. I love everything about this, everything what you're trying to do. We'll do our best to do whatever we can to help you.
Yep.
And so we mentioned it earlier. So how do they find your product?
So they can go to the website, lookouthericome.com, and there's a store locator. And on that store locator, they just punch in their zip code, and they can find all the stores within a certain radius, 5, 10 miles, whatever, and they can find it. It's available in 57 Safeways and 11 Whole Foods, and they can also order it online at lookouthericome.com.
Okay. And we talked about the future. You want to be in 1,000 stores or
Yep.
1,000 homes.
Yep.
That's fantastic. What do you have for us?
I got you a case of the oil for you to try and hand out to your friends and family. And on the website, we've got a lot of recipes. If you want to send me an email directly, you can send it to nathan@lookouthericome.com. Ask me for recommendations, recipes. I've got a great balsamic vinaigrette recipe that will be pretty much the best vinaigrette that you've ever had.
We have a lot of Hispanic chefs. We did a newly formed, and our first big meeting is January 10th out at the Origin Hotel. We're kicking off the Hispanic Chefs Association. I'm going to bring your product to them.
That would be fantastic.
It's going to be the rubber meets the road, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah. Well, the oil, it's garlic, jalapeno, habanero peppers, and olive oil, but it's not a hot sauce. The amazing thing about this product is that I burn the heat off in the process. A lot of people are afraid to cook with jalapenos and habanero peppers, but they don't, because they don't know how to get the heat away. It's too hot for them. What I've done is I've created an extra virgin olive oil that is infused and is not a hot sauce.
Is that a patented thing?
It's not a patented thing. No, it's just a process.
Just a process?
Yep.
Okay. No, I love it. No, I'm looking forward to trying. I did try some before. It pops.
Yeah.
It really, really does. It's well done.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done, coming on board, learning about a new and innovative product. This is a different podcast. We normally do the chefs, but we want to educate and elevate the community. And you have a great product here. We want to help you, and just let us know in the future what we can do.
Sounds terrific. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.